In the age of technology, when technology is advancing rapidly, human beings are trying to become superhumans. Now, when humans are trying to become superhumans, they are forgetting the very essence, that they are forgetting about what makes them human. The very virtues of human being, like kindness, generosity, empathy, all these things are lacking in them. Still, they are trying to become superhuman. They are forgetting the very essence, that what is the difference between human being and being human. So now, considering one of the very significant virtues like empathy, which means to understand others' problem or pain by putting yourself in their shoes, is empathy. Alright, now this particular human virtues has been beautifully explained in this lesson, A Gift of Chappals. Now, Gift of Chappals, that is written by this Tamilian writer whose name is Vasant Surya. She has depicted this idea of empathy in a very beautiful manner. Alright, so without any further delay, let's jump into the lesson. Before that, I would like to introduce myself. This is Deepak Kumar Sahu. I am from Odisha, Adarsha, Vidyalaya, Gunupur, Raigada. Well, I am here to teach you this lesson, that is A Gift of Chappals. Now, let's look at the setting of the play. So, the total story has taken place in Madras. Now, it's called Chennai. Now, when we look at the characters in the story, we have Mridu, a girl, and she lives with her grandparents. Her grandmother is known as, Tapi, and her grandfather is known as Tata. Alright, probably in Chennai, they call their grandmother as Tapi and grandfather as Tata. In the other family, we have Rukumani and Gopumama. And we have Ravi, Meena and Lali. So Ravi, Meena and Lali, these people are siblings, and their parents are, Rukumani and Gopumama. Alright, they also have one more member in the family, and that is MP Punai. So Mahendra Verma Pallav Punai. That is in fact not a person, it is a cat. Alright, so MP Punai is a cat, and technically it belongs to their family. We'll find out how in this lesson. There are two other characters in the story. One is a music teacher and the other one is a beggar, of course. All right. Okay, so without any further delay, let's jump in and let's see what is the background of the story, what actually happens here. Well, Mridu is a young girl, and she was growing up in this old city of Madras, which is now called Chennai. And then one fine day, Tapi, her grandmother, decides to take her to meet her cousins, Ravi, Lali and Meena. Alright, so, who are they? This girl, Mridu, and her grandma, they go to visit them. Alright. Now this is, they reach, whose place? They reach Rukumani's place. And the moment she is there, the story begins. Have a look at the text. A smiling Rukumani threw open the door. Ravi and Meena rushed out, and Ravi pulled Mridu into the house. So the moment these people have reached Rukumani's house, Mridu has reached her auntie's house. Here her cousins, that is Ravi and Meena, these two people very eagerly, they came out to greet her, to get her inside. Ravi started pulling her hand, and then what happens? Wait, let me take off my slippers, protested Mridu. Mridu says that, please wait for a while, let me take off the slippers. And then she set them neatly near a pair of large black ones. Those were grey, actually with dust. You could see the clear mark of every toe on the front part of each slipper. The marks for the two big toes were long and scrawny. Now, what is the meaning of scrawny? It's something which is thin, right? Narrow and thin. Now, what was this girl Mridu doing before she enters the home? She was taking off her chappals and she was putting it neatly near a large pair of chappals. Those chappals, they looked really grey, and that is probably because it was dust laden. Alright, and then she, very perfectly and particularly noticed those two big toes, which were scrawny in the sense that is narrow, right, and thin, which suggests how the owner of the chappals would be looking like. Definitely a bit thin, maybe skinny. Alright, so yeah. Now, Mridu didn't have much time to wonder about whose slippers they were, because Ravi dragged her to the backyard behind a thick bitterberry bush. Now, before Mridu could wonder a little while about whose slippers they were, Ravi dragged her because probably he wanted to show something, or probably for whatever reason, let's find out soon. Ravi drags her into the backyard where there is a bitterberry bush. Okay, there inside a torn football lined with sacking and filled with sand lay a very small kitten lapping up milk from a coconut half shell. Then directly Mridu is taken to the backyard to see that there is a cat. And what was the cat doing? Where was it? It was, lying on a torn football. And what was it doing then when they saw it? It was lapping or licking milk or sipping milk from a coconut shell. Alright, so yeah, next what happens? We found him outside the gate this morning. He was mewing and mewing. Poor thing, said Meena. Meena says that where they found the cat? She says that they found the cat right outside their gate. It was just mewing and mewing, probably because it was hungry. It's a secret. Amma says Pati will live for our Padu Mama's house if she knows we have a cat. So guys, it's a secret here. What is the secret? That they have a cat hidden behind a bitterberry bush. If this is known to especially Pati, then she will leave for Padu Mama's home. I mean, she won't stay any longer, probably because she hates cat. Well, people are always telling us to be kind to animals, but when we are, they scream, "Oh, don't bring that dirty creature here." People usually tell the small kids to actually be kind towards animals. But when they are actually kind, like in this case, you can see they brought a cat from outside probably to feed it. And when they did bring it inside, they might scream saying, "Oh, don't bring that dirty creature here." Right? That becomes a dirty creature directly. Ravi said this, and then he says, "Do you know how hard it is just to get a little milk from the kitchen?" Now he explains about how it is difficult to feed Mahindran here, because it is quite difficult to even get a glass of milk for Mahindran from the kitchen. He explains the story from the morning. Listen how and what happens. "Pati saw me with a glass in my hand just now. I told her I'm very hungry. I want to drink it. But the way she looked at me, I had to drink most of it to throw her off the scent." He says that he was almost going to get caught this morning when he was trying to bring a glass of milk for Mahindran. The moment he was bringing it, Pati saw it and asked what he was going to do with it. So Ravi said that he was very hungry and he wanted to drink it, and then to avoid her to be very suspicious or doubtful, he had to drink almost half of the milk from the glass. Then she wanted the tumbler back. And then she wanted the tumbler. What is a tumbler? A tumbler is a glass. Okay, then she wanted it back because smart grandma, right? So she wanted it back, just to ensure that this was going to be drunk by Ravi himself. "Pati, I will wash it myself. Why should I put you into trouble? Put you into trouble?" He says that if he drinks all the milk right away, then what is left for Mahindran? Therefore, he says that, "Don't worry, Pati. I'm a good boy and I'm not going to put you into trouble. I'm going to wash it myself." Okay, I told her I had to run and pour the milk into the coconut shell and then run back and wash the tumbler and put it back before she got really suspicious. Now we have to think some other way to feed Mahindran. So Ravi says that immediately after that he ran with the tumbler, tumbler filled with a half milk. All right, so he got it and he ran directly to Mahindran, poured it there in the coconut shell, ran back again and carefully cleaned that and put it back, okay, before Pati could go really serious. Now, Ravi says that this is extremely tough to feed Mahindran. Mahindran, the moment this name is uttered, this blows the head of Mridu. All right. Let's find out why. This little kitty's name is Mahendran. She asked. Mridu was impressed. Mridu is really impressed with the name. It was a real name, not just a cute kitty cat name. Alright, most often we've seen that the names of cats usually come like cat, kitty, things like that, kitty and all of that. But this time, this name seems like more like a real name, Mahendran. Right, so Mridu was absolutely impressed. Actually, his full name is Mahendra Verma Pallav Punai, MP Punai for short, if you like. Then Ravi explains further about the name, and he says that actually the full name of the cat is MP Punai, that is Mahendra Verma Pallav Punai. But if you find it really difficult to pronounce the name, you can for short you can call it MP Punai. Just look at the fur. Okay, he says that he's a fine breed of cat. Just look at his fur, like a lion's mane. He explains more about how the cat looks. He says that the fur means the hair on the body of an animal, right? So that is absolutely beautiful, like, and it looks more like the mane of a lion. What is mane? Mane is the hair grown on the head of a lion. So that fur looks like the mane of a lion. You see how he is glorifying the look of the cat. All right, and what else he says, and you know what the emblem of the ancient Pallava kings was, don't you? He looked expectantly at Mridu. Now he goes on to talk about emblem. Now what is emblem? Emblem is actually the symbol, okay, representing a dynasty or something like that. So he says that what is the emblem of the Pallav kings? Now he looked expectantly, matlab expecting some answers from Mridu. And he was very serious when he asked this question, but Mridu giggled. Giggled means, started laughing at that. When Mridu giggled, it was not taken with true spirit by Ravi. He said, "Think I'm joking? Well, just wait. I'll show you sometime." It's clear you don't know a thing about history. Haven't been to Mahabalipuram, have you? He said mysteriously. He made fun of Mridu and said that she doesn't know anything about history. And then Ravi asked her that whether she had ever been to Mahabalipuram. So he says that, well, when our class went to Mahabalipuram, I saw a statue of his tatas, etc., etc. So he says that once they had been on a class trip to Mahabalipuram, and there Ravi had seen the statue of this MP Punai's tatas, matlab great grandfathers, great grandfathers statue there. All right. Fact is, Mahendran here, this particular cat that I have here, is descended from that very ancient cat. So the cat I'm talking about, which is in Mahabalipuram, this cat is descendant of that cat. All right. So what is descendant? It means that the forefathers of this cat Mahendrans are those cats. Okay. The one that you can find in Mahabalipuram. A close relative. Okay, a close relative, scientifically speaking, of none other than the lion. He says again, now this is your blood relation is over. Now after blood relation, he gives one more relation. It is about a lion who happens to be the relative. All right, who happens to be the relative of this particular cat that they have in their house right now. And which is that? That is, none other than the lion. So this cat is a relative of the lion. All right. And which lion? Is it a normal lion? See what Ravi has to say about it. The Pallava lion, not any ordinary lion, emblem of the Pallava dynasty. So emblem of the Pallava dynasty, you might have seen that's a lion, right? So this cat here has two important relations. Number one, it is descendant of that Mahabalipuram Rishi cat. And number two, it is the relative of that Pallava lion. So do you think MP Punai is ordinary anymore? It is definitely extraordinary. All right, according to Ravi. We are not sure. We are not going for a fact check here. All right. Ravi went on walking around the bitterberry bush, waving a twig up and down, his eyes sparkling. Now Ravi was going on telling everything that he knew and holding a particular twig, a branch, a small branch of a tree. He was moving it up and down, and as he said, his eyes were sparkling, holding that, moving around that. He was going on telling the stories, enjoying himself, whatever it is. All right. Okay. This cat is a descendant of none other than the Mahabalipuram Rishi cat. So he says that this particular cat here is a descendant of that Mahabalipuram Rishi cat. And if I may just remind you, they worshipped cats in ancient Egypt. And it tells more right now about this cat, and he says that this, cats are worshipped in Egypt. Did you know that? He asks another question to Mridu. How he loved the sound of his own voice. Meena and Mridu exchanged looks. What does that have to do with anything? Mridu demanded. The moment Ravi said that, people worshipped cats in Egypt, Mridu said like, what does that have to do with anything? What is the connection? All right. What is the connection? Then Ravi says that, I am telling you, this cat is descended from the Egyptian cat god. No, goddess Bastet. He says that, this cat particular is descended from, that Egyptian cat god. Then he clarifies, no, not cat god, it is cat goddess. Not cat goddess. Cat goddess will not be right, it will be Bastet. Now what is Bastet? Bastet is the cat god in Egypt. And this is a true story. Okay, people in Egypt, they believe that there is a certain god, called a Bastet, which looks like the half of the body, is like a woman and the head is like a cat. You can find out more about it on YouTube. All right. Yeah. So he clarifies that how this cat is a descendant of that cat goddess, or in other words, Bastet. And then Mridu says, so what? Well, one of the descendants of that cat goddess was a stowaway in one of the Pallava ships. And his descendant was Mahabalipuram Rishi cat, whose descendant is Ravi flourished his twig at Mahindran, MP Punai here. So he says that, probably the Pallava kings, they had traveled to Egypt. And when they had been there, one of the descendant of that Egyptian cat goddess was secretly traveling in Pallava ship. The person who secretly travels in a ship is called a stowaway. Now, it was traveling there, and then what is the connection with that particular stowaway cat with this Mahabalipuram Rishi cat? Mahabalipuram Rishi cat is the descendant of that stowaway cat. I'm repeating it for you once again. So the cat which was, secretly coming in the ship was a descendant of that Egyptian cat goddess. And the cat that is at Mahabalipuram is the descendant of that cat which was traveling in the ship. Now is it clear? And then this MP Punai, the cat that Ravi has got, that cat is again a descendant of the cat at Mahabalipuram. What does that mean? This means that this cat has a direct relation with the cat goddess in Egypt. Now, did it make the connection that Mridu was asking? Yes. Now, having said that, Ravi could not control his excitement and he made a sound like whoop, eek. Okay. So when he made that particular sound as if he is really supremely happy for something he has done, he made that certain sound, and that has got a reaction by the cat that is there. He shrieked, all right, MP Punai, he shrieked very pleased with himself. Shrieked means to speak something very loudly. So when he made that sound, that has a reaction, that has that has impacted the cat which was lying there. And how it impacted, let's find out. Mahindran looked up alarmed. Mahindran, the cat, looked up alarmed means absolutely terrified. The great cat is now terrified, and you will see what greatness it will do right now, what great deed it will do right now. He had just been sharpening his claws on the edge of a coconut shell. He was sharpening his claws. Claws is the nail you can see of the animals. All right, he was sharpening that at the edge of the coconut shell. The moment he heard that, strange noise by Ravi, he was absolutely frightened. Not supposed to be frightened, right? It's a god, but somehow it frightened. All right, but worse than Ravi's awful whoop-ick was a screech. But then the kind of sound that Ravi made, worse than that, was another screech sound. That is another awful or bad sound that came from the window. What a weird sound. What is the meaning of weird? Strange. That was a strange sound that came from the window. All right. If Mridu was startled, in the sense confused, MP Punai was frightened out of his wits. So MP Punai was absolutely terrified. And what did he do? As a reaction, hair standing on end, he bounced up and scurried towards a bamboo tree, a tray of red chilies that had been set out to dry. Then out of fear, it started running. Okay, it started running. Scurry means to run quickly. It started running, bouncing up here and there like a ball, and went straight onto a place where red chilies were set to dry. Trying to hide beneath it, he tipped a few chilies over himself. He was trying to hide under that red chilies. All right, look at the god, and what is the condition of, just because somebody made a sound, god. All right, okay. Meow, he howled miserably. He made that meow sound in a very pathetic manner. The awful and bad, absolutely unpleasant screeching sound went on and on. What's that noise? Said Mridu. Mridu could not understand what it was, and she asked what that noise was. That's Lali learning to play the violin, grunted Ravi. Grunted in the sense when you say something angrily. He said that's Lali learning to play violin. So the noise was actually supposed to be a beautiful sound, but it is not. That was in fact Lali trying to play some music on her violin. She'll never learn a thing. The music master just goes on playing like a train, whizzing on and on, while Lali's all the time derailing, going completely off track. So Ravi says that Lali is absolutely stupid. She doesn't know anything how to play the violin. The music teacher plays beautifully and smoothly like a train, whizzing on and on, in the sense making a certain rhythmic sound. All right, moving quickly, beautifully. But then Lali always derailing, going off the track, means the train is not going on the lines and it is moving off the track, probably causing an accident. All right, yeah, so that's what is happening in the scene. That is the noise. Well guys, that's all about this part, and we'll be meeting in the next part shortly. I hope you understood this one properly. Well, thank you so much. We'll meet in the next class. Stay tuned. Thank you. Have a good time.